my team and I received some advice from another business, like serial entrepreneur. And he just said, Katrina, you have a great business, you have, great energy, but if you always put part-time energy into your full-time dreams, like you're never going to get those full-time results that you're looking for.
That's
Mm-hmm.
really good. Hey, welcome to this episode of Entrepreneurship Simplified. My name is Keith Hevlin. I'm your host, and I've got Katrina Calderon with me. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to just kind of turn it over to you and let you kind of tell us about what you do and kind of how you got started in your entrepreneurship journey.
Amazing. So again, my name's Katrina Calderon. I'm the CEO of Regal Media, and I'm really proud to be the CEO of this company. I started this company back in 2019, along with my husband and other business partner, Luke. And really my entrepreneurship journey started, I would say, back when I was in 8th grade. I was really fortunate because as the oldest of 3 kids, I was at home a lot, helping my mom raise my siblings. And while she was at work, she was a really hardworking single mom. And I remember watching this show, and it was about a woman who had her own fashion line. And it was just like the sweet life of, I believe, Kamora Simmons. And she had this fashion line called Baby Fat. And I remember that I was so inspired by her just being this model and this woman, like this mom and wife. And she just ran her business, her day to day. And as a young kid, I don't know how I was just so fascinated, like this young kid just watching this show. But it was just more about how she went through her day to day. She ran a business and she was able to go do all of these amazing things, had a really beautiful life. And for me, coming from a world that, my life wasn't always that great. And at the time I didn't know it, but,
Sure.
we didn't live in a mansion or this really nice house. And so I was really fortunate that when I was like, I want to say that was 8th grade, going into 9th grade, that's when I discovered college. And so I was really thankful because I would tell people, they would ask me like, what do you want to do with your life? And I'm like, I don't know what I want to be, but I know I want to be a CEO of my own business one day. And I remember I was like, I want to be a fashion designer. And shortly after, I really did fashion designing. I took a class at Pima Community College, actually had to design my own pajamas. I was like, oh my gosh,
funny.
like I do not want to do all that. That hurt my fingers. It was really stressful. I did a fashion show. It was so crazy. And then I remember I was like, okay, maybe not that, but maybe the business side. I really would love to have a business. And so I still didn't know what it was going to be. But thankfully, my grandma introduced me to my very first mentor. And this was my freshman year. So I had no idea what a mentor was.
Sure.
And then I remember he talked to me about his own journey, about, kind of being like a little hoodlum. And then he was able to, somebody mentored him, kind of guided him to go to college at the University of Arizona. And he's like, what the heck is college? Like, what is this? Why do I need to go? And he really didn't want to do it, but he did it. And it really paid off for him in the future because he was able to start his own media company and really just being successful, like being himself. And once I heard his story, I was like, that is so amazing. Like somebody who is another Latino that looks like me and who gets to wear business suits and go out there and get to have their own business, like that is so amazing that this is totally possible. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be, my own boss. And again, I didn't know at the time it was going to be a media company, but he helped guide me through high school and really told me if you, go out there, get the good grades, you can get scholarships and you can go to college essentially for free. And I'm like, is that real? But it was honestly, it was pretty true for me. I really busted my butt all through high school, got honor roll, and I was really grateful because once I graduated, I was able to get a full ride to the University of Arizona.
Nice.
And I was the first one in my family to do anything like this. And when I told my mom I wanted to go to college, she was like, oh my gosh, like, how are we going to pay for this?
Right.
That's amazing. But how are we going to pay for this? And then I remember I got into college and I remember I wanted to go into something that was going to help me with, marketing or, business admin. And then, so I ended up getting a communications degree from the University of Arizona. And I really built my network during that time, thankfully, because of a scholarship program called Earn to Learn. And that's really where I got super ingrained into the Tucson community, because a lot of these businesses really wanted to support this scholarship. And then from there, I still stayed in contact with my mentor. And once I graduated, I was able to get connected to a local nonprofit. And I started off as an executive assistant because I just needed a job like after college. And I was really grateful to them that they opened up this position for me to be an executive assistant to the CEO. This was in 2017. And I told him right away, obviously, this is not what I went to school for, but I really want to be a CEO one day. I want to be in marketing. I want to be in, business development. I want to use my personality to help grow a company. And they believed in me. So they helped me, basically started as an assistant, and then I was able to be promoted to a marketing and events coordinator. And then, by the time I would say like 2 years happened, I was a marketing manager.
Wow.
So it was just like a really, like just one thing after another. But I felt very grateful that people believed in me and allowed me to kind of put myself in those positions, but also, really work for everything that I've ever done. And so that was like 2 years into working into the nonprofit world. But I had this crazy idea to start my own business with my husband in 2019, 2 years into like the workforce. But I realized like I really loved helping marketing teams, organizations grow their brand, and just basically being a project manager. And I was like, I want to do this for more companies. And so that's exactly what I did. And we launched in like 2020 to the whole community, and then COVID hit.
I was gonna say, and then like, man, wow. Welcome to the real world. Here you go. Wow.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was, like a huge slap in the face. And I'm like, because everything was chaotic. But that was like probably a pivoting moment for our business, because I thought I was going to leave my full-time job in 2020, and everything was, I just don't even know where that came from. I'm just like, hey, 6 months after I started this business, I'm going to leave my full-time job. But the universe had like other plans, and thankfully we were able to pivot as a team, and we stayed with our full-time jobs for about another year and a half. And by 2021, like May 2021, my team and I received some advice from another business, like serial entrepreneur. And he just said, Katrina, you have a great business, you have, great energy, but if you always put part-time energy into your full-time dreams, like you're never going to get those full-time results that you're looking for.
That's really good. I like that. Part-time energy.
That was like,
I like that.
Was the universe. That was the universe telling me, like, I'm a big universe kind of like energy person. And I was like, okay, universe, I hear you. Like, this is the moment. This is the time. And my husband just told me, he's like, Katrina, go out there and get us, 3 6-month contracts, and we'll all leave our full-time jobs. I'm like, say less. So that's exactly what I did.
So when was it that you actually were able to put the full-time energy in? What date was that?
It was May 2021.
Okay.
And I remember I attended a business networking group that just started here in Tucson. I got invited from like a local realtor, and I remember I pitched my business to them at like 8 in the morning. It was like 9 in the morning. And I was like, I did like a 15-minute presentation, and then I want to say there was like maybe 6 or 8 businesses in that morning meeting. And I want to say like almost 6 of them wanted to work with us for a 6-month contract.
That's incredible. So there we go. Off the races then.
Off to the races. And that was seriously when Regal First Media was taken, I would say by June 2021. That's when we took our business full time. And we've just been growing it ever since.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So it's interesting. I also got a full scholarship. I got one to the University of Tennessee, but mine did not end like yours. I dropped out of college to open a liquor store, and I'd never had a drink of alcohol. I'd never had a drink of alcohol at that point. Still don't really drink alcohol at all because I just don't like it.
Good.
But that's interesting because I got into college because my parents told me I had to go to college. They're like, you're going to college and you have to figure out a way to pay for it because we can't afford it.
Oh my gosh.
I had to do what I had to do to get the full ride, right? So I got the academic scholarship, got in, and was like, man, this sucks. Because I was working full time while
Yep.
going to school to pay for all my bills, right? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not fun. Like everybody says college is fun. This sucks. I'd rather just go make money
Yep.
because I was working for
Yep.
people that I thought I was smarter than, which I probably was not.
Mm.
But I was, I was 18 years old. Like I thought I knew everything.
Yep.
Um, so, it was like I could do that better than they could do that. And eventually
Mm.
one thing led to another, opened a liquor store of all things, and off to the races we go here at 20 years old.
Wow. What did your parents say?
Oh my gosh, my parents don't drink. My mom did. I had never seen my parents have alcohol at all. My mom did not tell anybody what I did for like a year and a half. She's like, my son owns his own business.
Oh my
Wouldn't say what it
gosh.
was. Like wouldn't say like this is the type of business he owns. Like he just owns his own
I love
business. So,
She was nervous for you.
well, I mean, she was probably embarrassed. Oh my God, my son's dealing with
Uh,
alcohol.
oh my
Um,
God.
so, but it worked out well. I sold it, made more money than I probably deserved to make. But it was the start.
Wow.
That was the start of my entrepreneur journey, and here we are, almost 25 years later. Rocking
That
and
is
rolling,
so
still doing it. But yeah, mine was completely different than yours. I couldn't make it through college. Sure as heck couldn't. It's like this is hard work, and like it doesn't pay me anything. I have to work on top of it. I was like, this
Mhm.
sucks. Let's just go make money.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That is inspiring though, honestly. I mean, I just didn't know if I had any other options. I think at the time I thought that was my only
sure,
option because of
sure,
where I come from. I was like, "Oh
sure.
my gosh." Like if somebody else would have told me something else at the time, maybe I would have like, jumped ship and did something else, but I did have a part-time job at Starbucks and I worked there from pretty much like freshman to junior year and it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough.
See, my freshman year, I was working at a reservation center for Days Inn. I would start at 5:30 at night and get off at 2 a.m. And I had 8 a.m. classes every semester. It was terrible. It was awful. Like I don't know what I was
That's
thinking.
awful.
It was terrible. So
That's
like
awful.
it's just like, hey, let's go work. And I was too dumb to know to be scared. Like, I mean, genuinely, when they brought the alcohol
Uh-huh.
in the very first day, I was like, okay, put all the whiskey over here, put all the tequila over here, put the vodka here, because I didn't know the difference. I genuinely didn't know the difference between tequila and vodka. And
Yep.
this was 2000. You couldn't Google everything. Google didn't exist yet, right?
Yeah.
I'm aging myself here, but I mean that's just the reality.
Uh-huh.
Like I was
Mhm.
reading books. I had got books out of a
Mm.
library, right? Like
Oh my
who does
gosh.
that? But yeah,
Well,
so
that's what you had to do back then.
yeah, I mean, I definitely put full-time energy into it. That's for sure. But but yeah, no, I mean that's incredible. And starting like right in the middle of a pandemic, obviously, good gosh, nobody
Rough.
could see that coming.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
nobody had that on their bingo card for 2020. That's for
Not at
sure.
all. Yeah,
But
not at all.
so yeah, so the fact that you started right then and you made it through and you come out the other side, I mean, you've already obviously gone through some stuff. That said, what other challenges have you faced that you're like, man, if I would have only known X, Y, or Z, it would have made life a little bit easier.
Hi, man. When I really think about it, like, I think that, in the beginning, when you really have like nothing to lose, right? It's like, you're like, well, if this works out, it works out. If it doesn't, we'll just go back and get another job, right?
Yep.
It's not like, not life or death at that time. We had an apartment still. So it's not like, it's like if we had to like let it go, if all else fell, like,
Right.
we could let it go. I just always thought like, okay, we can always go get another job. But I think another part was, once we took the business full time, going into that next year, right? The biggest thing that I realized as a business is that in Tucson, the time in which we start picking up again and we start doing things after the holidays is usually like February, March. That's when a lot of people are coming back from the holidays. They're getting ready for the year
Sure.
because everybody has to do kind of those new year check-ins with their team, get everybody set up. And when you're a new business and you haven't had the chance yet to do a lot of that outreach, that's
Yep.
really stressful. And that's when it can get really scary because you're just like, if you are not motivated, that is like the most scariest part because if you're just waiting in front of your laptop
Yeah.
for people to message you, for people to call you, it's like, and you're not doing the work, you're not going out there, you're not, doing the cold outreach, then you're going to feel miserably. And I remember in the very beginning, I treated Regal Fierce Media like a 9 to 5.
Sure.
I was like, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna make sure that I basically how I would at my old job, make sure that I'm contacting my current clients, make sure that I try to do some outreach. But of course, the money was basically after like the first 6 months, like the money was a little bit not as just wasn't there. Because again, we had to re-sign clients, some of them re-signed, some of them didn't, and we had to go get new clients. If we wanted
True.
to scale to a full-time job, we had to go get new clients. So that was definitely a little scary. But I would say almost like a year later in like in the middle of like 2022, we applied for a loan. And this was like when I thought, I was like, oh my God, did we make like a bad decision?
Sure.
Like just in regards to like having to continue the business, I'm like, oh my God, like, is this gonna work? Did we just make a bad decision? We all left our full-time jobs, like, oh my gosh. But then I remember my team was so supportive. They're like, we believe in you. We know you're going to get the business. Like, we know that you're going to go out there and grow our business. So like, just, we can like survive right now. And I remember like, there was this loan called the BIPOC loan with the Community Investment Corporation here in Tucson, Arizona. And they were offering a $10,000 0% interest loan for BIPOC business owners. And you just had to be in business for a year, which we had.
Sure.
And you basically, the way you apply is just tell your story. Just tell your story. And what are you going to use the money for? How is it going to make a difference? And it's not about your credit score. It wasn't about your debt. It was just like, what are you going to use this money for?
Yeah.
And so I was really grateful that this was the opportunity we had, because when you start a business, you can't just go to Wells Fargo and you can't just ask for a loan, because you're so new that they don't care.
They
like, don't care.
Good luck.
They don't care about your sweet story.
Nope.
Right. So then this loan was like really what catapulted our business to the next level, because we used that $10,000 to get the equipment that we needed for our production team.
Awesome.
To really help scale our business. And so I would say that was like the weird moment for us, because it was scary. We didn't have the money to get the equipment we needed to get the jobs we wanted to do at a higher level. And
Sure.
so once we got that equipment, that's when I would say like we grew again, like another big jump for our business. And it was just like the most uncomfortable situation at first, though.
Sure.
Like, that was scary.
Yeah. Your story and my story are interesting because, again, we're about 2 decades apart. But we have ended up in very similar positions where, like, obviously I do digital marketing. You offer more services than I do. We're scaled back quite a bit. But it's very interesting to see how you got there versus how I got there. But, we're both doing it. You're talking about going out and networking, hustling for the business. I would rather shut down Yellowfin Digital than ever have to cold call. Like, I will figure out any other business in the world to start. I will go start up 5 new businesses rather than cold call. So again, it's interesting to me because, again, like we're running kind of parallel where we are right now. I would never do it. So like people like you who like get out there and hustle and just get it done. My buddy Duncan, all he does is social media. He's been doing social media since 2007, Fire Belly Marketing. He will go out and talk to absolutely anybody. It's not even cold calling for him because it's just who he is, to just go talk to everybody, and then they are naturally drawn to him and want to do work with him. It sounds similar to what it feels like with you. And I was just like, how do people do that? Like, but
oh my gosh, it takes
it's amazing.
A lot of energy.
Yeah, it takes a ton of energy, but I mean, it's amazing to watch like somebody like yourself be successful doing that. Because again, I'd rather poke myself in the eye with this pen than to do what you're doing, but you're having success.
Like that.
Yeah, and it's just,
I mean,
it's fascinating to watch, and that's again, that's what is great about this podcast, is meeting people I would never meet. Like I've never been to Tucson. I don't know if I'll ever go to Tucson, but you and I would never have stumbled upon each other. Got connected through a mutual contact. In your entrepreneurship journey, like where you're sitting right now is very similar to mine. But how you got there and how you stay there is completely different, which is what makes owning your own business just fascinating to me, right? Like you and I could produce the exact same thing in theory, right? For a client, but the way we go about it, like how we got that client is just, it's great. It's amazing that you can just do so many different things to support yourself, pay your bills, be successful, financially independent. And that's what's great about the country we live in, right? Is that we can all kind of live this dream or live this journey, right?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's all about resourcefulness, right? Like I
Yep.
think that's why I love podcasts. I love networking because you just never know who you're going to meet, and that's why social media is so powerful. Like that has also been like another strategy, another tactic for my business because again, I'm only one person, and when you are growing a company like you said, it's like you don't want to have to always cold call. You don't want to have to do that. See, I'm not like I don't really like cold calling either. I feel like I do better when I can meet you in person or I can have a
Sure.
face-to-face digital meeting.
Sure.
Because again, I understand people are busy. People don't want to be picking up these like cold calls. So if I
Yeah.
can have some type of like touch, that's a a warm touch, a warm lead that I already have some type of connection with or referral. I'm going to thrive in that environment. I don't like cold calling myself, but
Sure.
I think social media really helps me kind of break that barrier to so many different businesses because if you look up like Regal Fierce Media on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, like we really try to be active and we've done this since the very beginning. Like the very beginning of Regal Fierce Media, we have posted almost every single day since we've had our business and we make our content in-house. It's really all of the business partners, me, Daniel, and Luke. And really, we try to be as connected to our community when it comes to our social media. So we go to a lot of community events, we go to
Sure.
chamber events, we go to nonprofit events. We like to highlight and spotlight people. So I definitely feel like that's my special power is like people. It's like that's my marketing strategy is making sure that I can go out there and do what I love to do for our business. But I feel you though, like really cold calling can be such a drag. It's just
Even
so awful.
networking to me, like, it's
Oh,
just like, oh
network
God. You mean I had to
it
go
kills
talk to
you.
people I don't know? God, and there's like
Hmm.
a whole room of these people I don't know. Like, no
Small
thanks. Thanks,
talk.
but no thanks.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah.
and
Did you
again,
did you feel like it got worse after COVID for you, or you just
I've
always been
always
this
hated it
way?
since I was a kid. I don't want to talk to people I don't know. Like, this is a 44-year problem at this point. Like,
Oh
yeah, no.
gosh.
I mean, again, I can do it. I do it if I have to.
Hmm.
I just don't like it. It's not where I
Yeah.
thrive to get business.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I've found ways to do it to make it work. I'm a terrible salesperson. I'll just tell people like, hey, yeah, like this is not a good fit. Like, I'm not gonna sell you on this because could I do it? Yeah. Am I gonna like doing it? No, I'm not gonna like doing it. So
Mm.
I don't think you should hire me because I'm not gonna let you hire me. Um,
Yep.
it,
That's a good one.
but I mean, it's just one of these things like everybody finds their little niche, finds their way to find their
Hmm.
business and find their way through the world, so to speak. And
Yep.
I like the ability to just sit back and watch people like yourself, people like my buddy Duncan thrive in doing something that I would hate. I would loathe if that was my life and I had to go get my business
Uh-huh.
that way. I would hate my life. So it's fascinating to me to be able to watch people like you guys do it because it's fascinating to watch you work.
Oh my gosh. If you ever saw me like at a networking event, like I love it. I mean, Tucson, I mean, because it's my city, I was born and raised here. Like I said, the whole scholarship program I think is what helped me because a lot of these executives, people in the community, they've seen me grow up since I was in high school to college. And so it's a very unique situation, but I think again, it just goes back to that resourcefulness. Like
Sure.
I wanted to go somewhere, I wanted to be like my mentor. And I think just having that example really kind of just raised the bar for me. Like, I'm like, I want to be in this world. I've never been a part of a business meeting. I've never seen a business suit before. Like,
Sure.
because again, I didn't come from that. So really just being immersed in that world at such a young age, I felt like that was really what helped me because I'm like, one, I love connecting with people and
Sure.
I love talking to people, but there's also a level of professionalism that you do have to have. There's also a certain level of knowledge and, um, I guess just like communication that you have to like know, like, well, what are we going to talk about when we meet up? Small
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing. You have to know how to small talk, and that definitely can kill people. I know it's just like you said, it's really hard sometimes, but I think depending on the environment, the city that you're in, if you can just find something to talk about, you can kind of like lead. It can just lead you to the next person, to the next person.
Yeah.
Um But
Well,
it's really draining. I would say that's the other thing, that if you're somebody who likes to talk to a lot of people at these events, it can be very draining. So you have to, as a business owner, be very selective on like what events you're going to go to. How many meetings are you going to have in a day? What are you going to focus on this year? Because you do not want to lose your creativeness in your business, especially when
sure.
you own a marketing company. You have to operate at your highest level and really learn to like delegate some of these like events to like other team members, because they're not always all for you as the business owner.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, the way you've gone about it, it's proof that if you will just hustle, you can get
Mm-hmm.
business, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
just going out and touching people. And again, if I had to do it, would I? Absolutely. If I absolutely had to,
Mm-hmm.
because again, I have to pay my bills, right? But it
Yep.
just proves that it doesn't take a ton of money. It doesn't take a ton of like technology. Just go out and create
Mm-hmm.
relationships. You create them differently
Yep.
than I do, right? Like my customers
Mm-hmm.
love me because of my personality and, my honesty, just the
Yep.
way I approach things. But the ability to go out and just create that connection and get business from really nothing, right? And just say,
Yeah.
hey, this is all about a
Organic.
relationship. Yeah. It's,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's great about the time and place that we live, that you can go, if you just will put the work in, you can make it,
Yep.
happen. So, and
Exactly. And I think that's what's really cool about Regal Fierce Media, is that, it wasn't like we had this major blueprint. None of us ever owned businesses before. Like I said, it's just we all kind of use our own, we all kind like all three business partners came into this like trying to utilize our, I guess, our superpowers. Like mine was like people and marketing and social media and project management. And my team, Luke is really good with video production and animation and photography, and already having skills putting videos together. Daniel is really good at like operations, project management, photography, videography, and he just like he can like put things together. Like he learns things super fast, Daniel. So it's like, all together, the three of us just made the perfect trio to really take Regal Fierce Media to that next level. And I would say that I'm so grateful for pretty much every like win, every loss, because I think that it genuinely just helped us become this real digital marketing agency in Tucson, Arizona, that is well respected by the community, because
yeah,
they've seen us grow from like the
sure.
bottom to where
Yeah.
we are now.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love it. So if you were to talk to somebody who's thinking about starting a business, any type of business, what piece of advice would you give somebody who's starting their entrepreneurship journey?
I would say, really start from the basics. Like really think about, what kind of business you want, what kind of market is there for it right now, how profitable really can it be. I always talk about, don't forget to pay yourself also first. Like that's a big thing. I think a
Sure.
lot of businesses, especially because I work with a lot of the small business community, they don't really pay themselves first. They pay all
Yeah.
their business expenses
100%.
and then they have nothing
Yep.
left.
Here's my
And that is
$5 to live
so,
on.
yeah, here's like my $5. Like, how are you going to do that? But if I remember like early on, I learned like profit first.
Yeah.
And and I think like just the concept of, getting a business idea that is going to get you paid up front is really going to make you have like that longevity in your business. And I think really get clear on the types of clients that you want to work with, get
100%.
clear on pricing, and kind of really start to build out that cash flow, kind of like a projection, just to guesstimate, and then just say like, what's my zero, right? Like for instance, if you're a solopreneur, which I don't always recommend that. I love that I started my business with my team, because I don't really think I could have been successful without anybody else helping me. I
Sure.
just don't think so. I'm like a team player. I like to be on a team. I like to have other people with me, because that's just my energy. That's how I
Sure.
thrive.
Yeah.
But I would definitely just say, like, don't forget to utilize the resources around you, the internet, YouTube, go to your like community like resources as well, because there's a lot of free resources out there. I don't know if everybody has access to this, but there's score mentors, which are
Mhm.
essentially retired successful business owners who've done this for several years, ran a business, and now they just mentor people for
Yeah.
free. So it's called Score Mentors, and that's what we use as well,
That's
when we
incredible.
started. But yeah, I would definitely just say like, and when you start your business, like be excited about it. Like literally take pictures, start a social media, post about it, really build that community, because if you can really build like a social media presence, you will be successful, because people nowadays, that's really just like free marketing for so many
Sure.
people.
Sure. That's great. That's great advice. So I appreciate you being on. I want to give you a chance to plug how people get in touch with you, what services you offer, and how they could
Mhm.
work with you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. So I would say the best way to get a hold of us is go to our website. That's regalfiercemedia.com. And also follow us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So if you really just want to see, how we go ahead and help businesses in the community with video production, social media management, advertising, you can really see our services and also our team. We like to post a lot of fun content, real content, and it's not always serious. So, really just, get connected with us. As a woman-owned media agency, I really love to support businesses and especially when it comes to video productions, social media, advertising, and really, I would just say like those are my favorite services.
Awesome. Katrina, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me as my guest today.
Thank you so much, Keith. I really hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing the video.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, that's a wrap for today's episode. Your next step, take what you've learned today and put it into action. Now, if this episode gave you something to think about, do me a favor and leave a review, or share it with someone you think needs to hear it. And if you have any thoughts, let's continue this discussion. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Let's simplify entrepreneurship together. We'll see you on the next one.